Lively was just named as one of Time's 100 most influential people. Her PR team is working overtime. I will give them that. Now, I would not say that she hasn't been obviously discussed a lot in the news this year, which by default makes her more famous, but influential while being locked in a giant court battle in both the real court system and the court of public opinion. Influential might be an accurate word, but for all the wrong reasons. She's influencing a lot of vitriol and negativity.
I met Blake a few times and thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah. Look at the body language experts analyzing this right now.
Of all of the actual influential people doing incredible things in the world, why Blake? Of all the years, it's actually comical. I mean, yeah, Blake could have been in a couple years ago and I wouldn't have said a thing, but given the fact that it's this year, why? Now, she posted on her stories, and I just had to show you guys this because the self-congratulatory promotion that she was able to get from this is just nauseating. So she posted on her story, "Thank you, Time, for the honor. I'm able to see this moment, almost looking back from the future or looking ahead from childhood, and from every time period, I can see how profound this is to me, not just to be included, but to have a voice. It's a fortunate thing when it should have been a given."
Interesting.
So thank you to Time and each one of you to uplift the many who live boldly even when it's scary. And then she also shared on her story the part from the Time article where they highlighted why she was chosen, which in that article, she was basically chosen because in 2019, she gave a contribution to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And somewhere else, they called her a titan for civil rights. That's why she apparently is even on this list. And this Times description of Blake was written by a civil rights attorney. So that was the reason why she was chosen. I just think of all of the people, again, people even in the civil rights community doing actual work and not getting the accolades, but Blake Lively makes a contribution in 2019 to something, and they're like, that's just shocking to me. One person said, "Only in Hollywood can being a liar land you on the most influential list." Blake Lively named one of Time's 100 while caught in a legal mess with Justin Baldoni, risk taker, or just reckless, because they called her risk taker in there. Blake's name was also listed in the Titans section. So Serena Williams, Blake Lively, Ed Bastian, Lorne Michaels, Simone Biles, Mark Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan. In the leaders section, Donald Trump was in there, Elon Musk, and Megyn Kelly, and that's why Megyn was there. They were very diverse in who they gave this to, which I was impressed. The crowd, though, at the actual event was not very diverse. It was very clear, just looked like a Hollywood party. But Megyn Kelly was there, and she did walk the carpet, and she did even decide to talk to reporters, which the discussion quickly got into the fact that Blake Lively was also there, which I thought this moment was hilarious, so I wanted to show you guys.
So who are you most looking forward to seeing tonight?
Well, I'm definitely hoping for some sort of a selfie in the distance with both Blake Lively and Meghan Markle, since they provided me with so many hours of content.
There's a lot of controversy right now with Blake being on the Time 100 list.
It's a ridiculous joke. She shouldn't be there. She has no influence over anything.
Right. I mean, what do you think of when you read headlines like every day about her and Justin?
I mean, I think she launched a fake Me Too allegation against him, and she's lived to regret doing it because virtually every allegation she has made has fallen apart. And so for her to be honored for doing that, to try to ruin a man over absolutely nothing, is a scandal.
Yeah.
And obviously they're looking for big stars to come here and generate pages on their magazines, but that was very wrong.
And what do you think of like her new movie, Another Simple Favor? People are saying she's feuding with Anna. Like, do you believe that? Or?
I couldn't care less, but I do care when people bastardize Me Too allegations against, people who don't deserve it. And I think, notwithstanding the fact that they can lawyer up with very powerful PR people and lawyers and so on, we have to be very clear-eyed on what looks real and what doesn't, and call it out when it isn't. Otherwise, no one who's actually experienced these things is going to be believed.
The balls that takes to say that on the same red carpet that Blake is walking is crazy to me. Again, she's calling it out like she sees it. If the tides change and she starts to see information that would change her opinion of her, she would also say it. But again, right now, things are not looking good for Blake. Megyn is just on a mission to figure out the truth of the story, which I love. I also love that Jem is on a mission to make food as a medicine a reality through bite-sized nutrition solutions that are simple and delightful to digest. The Jem Bite is a functional daily multivitamin formulated for proper absorption, packed with 20 plus nutrients, prebiotics, and probiotics, all in one delicious real food bite for foundational health. Their bites are designed with your nutritional needs in mind, using real food ingredients your body naturally absorbs more effectively. Their key ingredient is beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that can help boost your GLP-1 levels. Plus, Jem is committed to quality, sourcing organic ingredients whenever possible, and they never use anything artificial. All of their bites are vegan, gluten-free, and soy-free. And it's not just feel-good marketing, they're backed by science. They formulate with nourishing ingredients that are individually backed by clinical and scientific studies to ensure that your body gets exactly what it needs every single day while still tasting delicious. So if you want to give the first real food multivitamin a try, head to dailygem.com/Conrad or enter code Conrad at checkout for 30% off your first order. That's dailygem.com/Conrad or enter code Conrad at checkout for 30% off. You have to stay healthy and sharp to keep up with Megyn Kelly, but also to keep up with this whole situation as it continues to unfold. Someone commented under that video and said, finally, someone is speaking truth. Me agreeing with Megyn Kelly was never on my bingo card. Megyn, I was unfamiliar with your game. So many people were surprised at Megyn Kelly here because maybe they weren't a fan of her prior to this comment, but it is the great unifying thing between the sides of politics. Blake Lively. She's just bringing everyone together to discuss this because they're all annoyed, which is shocking.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Now, this part of the story, I would love to watch Megyn's reaction firsthand to this moment, but throughout the night, there was a small select few who were able to speak. So for some odd reason, Time decided that Blake needed to be on that small list of speakers. The civil rights titan, Blake Lively. Now, here is some of what she said. The New York Times had covered it, and they said, after that came a speech from Miss Lively. I have so much to say about the last 2 years of my life, but tonight is not the forum, she said, seemingly in reference to her experience with Mr. Baldoni. Then she spoke for several minutes about the pain women endure and the way they ultimately break the hearts of their daughters when they, quote, let them in the secret that we kept from them as they pranced around in princess dresses, that they are not and likely will never be safe. At work, at home, in a parking lot, in a medical office, online, in any space they inhibit physically, emotionally, and professionally. She went on to say, quote, but why does that torch need to have to be something we carry in private, she asked. How can we all not agree on that basic human right? First of all, to that first half, talk about empowerment. Teaching your daughters that you will never be safe. No one's ever guaranteed safety. That's just a reality of the world as a whole. You can be in danger in all these spaces. Like, yes, that sucks, but no one's saying that that's not a basic human right also, which is like, can we not? Of course, yes, we can all agree on that. That 100%. And statistically speaking, regarding like violent crime, which she doesn't really specify here, but I think she's sort of alluding to, statistically, it does happen more to men than women. Not saying that doesn't happen to women, or that a lot of these spaces can then not be safe for women because of predators or whatever. That's all very real. I own a gun for a reason, okay? And unfortunately, that's the reality though for everyone. That's also why my husband owns a gun. Just teaching your daughters to be prepared and kind of taking the rose-colored glasses off in a sense, that's good. But she's making it sound like this isn't a human right that no one talks. We know this. And this is something that should be discussed. But again, she just kind of paints this very broad stroke that just makes it sound like this is just a female-only problem. It's bigger than that. And again, the fact that Blake Lively is the one talking to us about this, but she was also the one who's a civil rights activist, which is why she's even been here in the first place. And then what the New York Times failed to articulate in their kind of recap of the night is that Blake then went on to talk about her mom in this video. I'm just going to play the video and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
What I will speak to separately is the feeling of being a woman who has a voice today. And since I could speak, because of the pain, caution, and fight of the many women who have paved the way and the men who stood beside them. Before I say more, I want to warn that I will speak about tonight covers trauma, so please feel free to step away if you need. My life was influenced most by my mother, sitting here tonight, Willie Elaine McAlpin.
Mom has a cool name.
She's an eternal optimist, and she's always leaving me messages, hooping and hollering and saying, woo, life's just a bowl of cherries. But at her urging and her unwavering bravery, she wanted me to share with you that she is a survivor of the worst crime someone can commit against a woman. I've watched her conceal her raw and undeserved shame my entire life. So as her daughter, being asked to share this today is monumental. If we name it, we change it. Just as our fellow Time 100 honoree, the incredible Giselle Pellicot, put it to every woman who understood, it's not for us to have shame, it's for them.
And what the video then goes on to show is that she never actually does name it. She just kind of paints this very vague. At one point, she said that her mom was in danger for her life and only survived because of someone else who defended her. It was a very vague setup, and I still don't understand what her mother was a survivor of. Now, I'm not sitting here denying that her mother was a survivor of something, but it just felt like a weird time to do that. And given the fact that she has done a movie and could have been talking about this for years, specifically about domestic violence against women, and she never brought it up. She talked about her hairline. She talked about her alcohol that she was selling.
And my hair care company, Blake Brown, my goodness gracious.
Many people pointing out that she said in interviews that she didn't actually have any emotional connection to this character, to the source material of that movie, but that she was willing to do it anyways, and she's happy to step into that role. Where was this energy? This is a tone change. This is her, warning of that she's going to be discussing trauma and all that. That was never done during the press rounds for It Ends With Us. And that is what people wanted. That's the tone, that's the conversation that many victims wanted her to be having. And she didn't. And now, in the heat of this mess with Justin Baldoni, now she's doing this? Maybe, though, it wasn't until now that Blake's mom wanted to share that part of her story publicly, which makes total sense. But it was Blake's choice to deliver this news at this forum, at this point in this story, that got people talking and kind of angry online. One person said, "The wild part is that we do not actually know if Blake's mom was a survivor of domestic violence, abuse, or something worse because Blake's story, in my opinion, was intentionally vague to lead us in that assumption. If you really listen to what she said," and again, there's more that I'm not playing here talking about the story, but again, being super vague. If you really listen to what she said, it was that her mom's life was in danger because of a coworker. She claims her mom experienced the worst crime a woman can experience, but never said what that crime was. It was also clear Blake meant to connect that back to herself, almost as if she was saying, "See what I'm doing? Believe me, because something even more horrific happened to my mom. That makes my allegations more credible. And because I am coming forward against Justin, other women will be inspired and protect themselves the way that random women once helped my mom." Because a random woman helped her mom in this situation. She started by being like, there's a lot I'm going to talk about the last 2 years, which made everyone think about her current allegations. And then she goes on to just talk about her mom.
Why, if this was something that was actually really close to her, did she spend her entire campaign for this movie talking about her hair care and making little jokes and
That's
being
the
annoying?
only part about this that made me go, because she was covering so heavy source material for years with the promotion of that movie. And she wouldn't even have to have named her mom or anything, but she could have made it feel more personal. Instead, she completely was just like, and here's Blake Brown, my hair care. She totally missed the tone in all of that. I mean, even that night, she goes, if you experience trauma, like you may want to step away for this. So she's aware now how heavy that material actually is. But in her promotion with the flowers, it was just happy, happy, fun times. I mean, the tone shift is wild and jarring. And I think that's why people were like, what? Another woman said, "Are we serious with this?" Blake Lively gave a speech at the Time 100 Gala in which she was being honored as a civil rights titan because she donated money to the NAACP 6 years ago after getting bad press for her plantation wedding, which everyone is calling her Plantation Khaleesi right now because I guess when she got married to Ronald Reynolds, she had a wedding on a plantation, so people got really mad. So then she became a civil rights titan to push away her past mistakes. She doesn't talk about what she's being honored for, again, the civil rights stuff, but instead talks about her mother being assaulted. Of course, this was a way to paint herself as a victim without talking about her fake claims of sexual harassment. Question: why didn't she talk about this during the promotion of It Ends With Us, a movie about domestic violence, instead of hawking her liquor and hair care? I don't believe a damn thing she says, and this is a slap in the face to real victims. The ones who don't get fancy awards for doing absolutely nothing, nor get to walk fancy red carpets all dolled up and fawned over in the press. These celebrities have absolutely no shame. And a lot of people seem to be in agreement of that statement. Someone else said, "I was thinking the same thing. Entire presser for a movie about domestic violence, and she was promoting her hair and liquor brands. Not a single peep about women. A little sus now that she's using her mom as PR and wants sympathy playing the victim. We all see through this publicity stunt as well as her being on this absurd list for something that was done in 2019. Another person said, the way she's exploiting her mother's experience in hope of earning goodwill is disgraceful. I am baffled. It's just frustrating to me because there was a way to do all of this with grace and respect for victims from the beginning of this whole ordeal. Instead, at every step, people felt more and more insulted rather than being empowered by Blake's actions. If Blake's team is trying to figure out how to gain sympathy back in her favor, the simple answer is this: just tell the truth. And if the truth is on her side, we will be there too. If not, though, she is in a world of hurt for exploiting people in her life to paint a false narrative. The jury is still out on that one. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. If you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video if you enjoyed it. And last but not least, if you want more content, you can also follow me on my personal accounts, as well as our new comment section Instagram. See you guys in the comments.